Greetings, mortals. Welcome to this reading of SCP-2110, Safe Haven.
Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-2110 is to be monitored on site by at least 2 Level 3 personnel at all times under the cover story of maintaining it to prevent any damage. As the site has been marked as a historical landmark in need of preservation by the Junior Gosnells Preservation Trust, no further action should be needed. However, if there is a breach of knowledge to the public, and/or civilians are found to have successfully entered SCP-2110, Class A amnestics are to be administered where necessary, with affected individuals monitored for up to 28 days. Disinformation campaigns are to be undertaken to suppress any information about the anomalous effects of SCP-2110. Any personnel who are American-born, Brazilian-born, belong to the Wampanoag tribe, have lived on Martha's Vineyard, or have had friends or immediate family live on Martha's Vineyard for more than 5 consecutive years are not permitted under any circumstance to enter SCP-2110 more than once. Any personnel who wish to conduct interviews with SCP-2110-1 must not be American-born, Brazilian-born, belong to the Wampanoag tribe, have lived on Martha's Vineyard, or have had friends or immediate family live on Martha's Vineyard for more than 5 consecutive years. Personnel must submit a questionnaire 2 weeks in advance for overview and approval from the Hazardous Materials Containment Liaison, and must undergo a monitoring period of 28 days after interviewing has finished, during which they will be cycled off-site until any desire to re-enter SCP-2110 has worn off. All new information about any cases regarding individuals whose appearances match SCP-2110-1 are to be suppressed, and the current status of these cases is to be maintained. Description: SCP-2110 is a 2-story gingerbread cottage in Oak Bluffs, Massachusetts, built in 18. There is no recorded history of habitation, and it is unknown when its anomalous properties manifested. Observing the inside of the cottage via remote-controlled rover shows that the cottage is abandoned and in disrepair. When trying to look in through the windows on the first floor, the view is completely obscured by various objects such as curtains or furniture. Windows on the second floor appear to be blocked in a similar manner as the first. Whenever a subject enters SCP-2110, the inside of the cottage will be completely furnished and repaired, with furnishings and appliances matching architecture styles commonly used in the current time period. There are no electronic appliances in the household. SCP-2110-1 appears in the dining area and kitchen when SCP-2110 is entered, with food present in the dining area. All furnishings, appliances, and food can be removed from the home, although the next time a person enters the cottage, the items will have been replaced. All objects and food taken from SCP-2110 have been found to be non-anomalous. Shortly after the subject enters SCP-2110, SCP-2110-1 will welcome them, as well as invite the subject over to the dining area to eat dinner with them, regardless of time of entry. SCP-2110-1 is a designation given to 7 individuals who appear in the cottage once a person enters. All individuals except SCP-2110-1-A are similar in appearance to people reported missing between 18 and 20, and all last seen on Martha's Vineyard. Interviews with them have shown that they all act in a familial structure, with age and gender determining the familial role of each individual. Explanations as to how SCP-2110-1 arrived on Martha's Vineyard have not been given, however. With the exception of SCP-2110-1-A, all have either lived on Martha's Vineyard at some point in their lives, or have had friends or immediate family who have lived there for more than 5 consecutive years. SCP-2110-1 is aware of any technological or social advances in the public world, regardless of any conversation with them on the matter. SCP-2110-1-A, farther, white. Birthplace unknown, mid-50s, 1.9 meters tall. The only individual in the group who does not match any known missing persons case. SCP-2110-1-B, Mother, Wampanoag, born in Massachusetts, late 60s, 1.7 meters tall. Matches missing persons case from 18. From the town of Massachusetts, SCP-2110-1-C, uncle, Afro-Brazilian, born in Rio de Janeiro, late 40s, 2 meters tall. Matches missing persons case from 19. From Massachusetts. Interviews with witnesses and subjects have reported that SCP-2110-1-C is unable to communicate verbally, and speaks solely in Brazilian Sign Language, with SCP-2110-1-F giving translations. SCP-2110-1-D-E, aunt and nephew, Brazilian, born in Massachusetts, mid-30s and 11, 1.65 meters and 1.4 meters. Matches missing persons case from 20. From Massachusetts, SCP-2110-1 Dad F, son, Brazilian, born in Massachusetts, 20, 1.6 meters. Matches missing persons case from 20. From the town of Massachusetts, SCP-2110-1-G, daughter, white, born in 21, 1.55 meters. Formerly D-9350, used for testing the anomalous properties of SCP-2110 in just order to artificially create a new instance of SCP-2110-1. Although the subject may leave of their own free will, they will usually accept SCP-2110-1's offer to eat with them. As the subject eats, they will report feeling at ease and comfortable with SCP-2110-1. During this time, SCP-2110-1 will be willing to answer questions. After leaving, the subject will express a desire to revisit SCP-2110. This will last for a time period of 3 days to 28 days. The subject can resist visiting SCP-2110 as time goes on and the desire to revisit wears off. However, the more times they visit SCP-2110, the stronger their urge will be. Class A amnestics have been shown to successfully wipe any memories of SCP-2110. As the subject visits SCP-2110 more, they will report a closer bond to SCP-2110-1, relating personal history and stories about family to them at the request of SCP-2110-1, as well as speaking more casually and openly. After 2 to 6 visits, subjects who are American-born, Brazilian-born, or belong to the Wampanoag tribe will be invited to sleep on the second story of the cottage. According to interviews with SCP-2110-1, no one has declined this offer. When the subject goes to sleep on the second floor, regardless of any external influence or commands to exit the area, all video and audio feed will cut off and all contact will be lost with the subject. The next time someone enters SCP-2110, the subject will have become another instance of SCP-2110-1. Despite these effects shown across all test subjects, SCP-2110-1 has been known to only invite subjects who are American-born, Brazilian-born, or belong to the Wampanoag tribe to sleep the night in SCP-2110. SCP-2110-1 claims to have not invited anyone else. Addendum 2110-A SCP-2110 was discovered following a gradual increase of missing person reports on Martha's Vineyard, with a direct correlation of rumors of a haunted house featuring entities similar to said missing persons. After interviewing eyewitnesses exposed to SCP-2110, its basic effects were understood. There were 8 instances of SCP-2110-1 at the time of initial containment and subsequent testing. Although interviews with eyewitnesses revealed a familial structure in SCP-2110-1, SCP-2110-1 individuals were not forthcoming in explaining their relationship or their individual time of joining to SCP-2110. Only testing and interviews done with SCP-2110-1 have provided answers. Interviewed SCP-2110-1. Interviewer D-9350. Forward D-9350 has been outfitted with audio and video feed in order to interview SCP-2110-1 and to prevent SCP-2110 from affecting any Foundation personnel. All questions had been picked by researcher Aquina and supervisor Santiago, located in a nearby building for monitoring. As this was D-9350's first interview with SCP-2110, D-9350 was given relevant information on SCP-2110 in his order to conduct the interview, and had been ordered not to answer any questions posed by SCP-2110-1 or to veer off script unless ordered to by supervising personnel. Begin log, 2132. D-9350 sits with the rest of SCP-2110-1 to eat dinner. After joining them in a prayer with the insistence of SCP-2110-1 and the approval of supervising agents, D-9350 begins to speak.
So, which of you are the parents in this family?
I am this family's father, and my faithful wife.
SCP-2110-1- gestures to SCP-2110-1-B on its right.
Is their mother. How long have we been together now, dear?
I'd say around years now. Our marriage really has stuck together for all this time, hasn't it?
Years? How old are you two then?
It's gotten harder and harder to recall now. I'm in my mid-50s and is in her late 60s. God has certainly blessed us to keep our union together, hasn't he?
He has.
Mommy, Papai, Argentina Sabin on Delavatio.
What did he say?
He's asking where you came from. I'd like to know too. You look like you came out of prison.
Now, sister, we mustn't turn one away because of past sins. Don't you remember 2 Peter 3:9?
Never had it any easier after that, you know. It was the first time I landed in trouble at high school, and my parents weren't that pleased. I did get pretty strictly punished.
SCP-2110-1-C communicates with SCP-2110-1-F, giving a translation.
But the punishment was meant to show their love for you, correct?
I've always doubted it.
Foitau Ruimen.
Huh.
Was it that bad?
Well, I don't know if.
At this point, personnel ordered D-9350 to stop speaking about her criminal record and leave SCP-2110 to conclude the interview. D-9350 finishes eating and announces her leave. As SCP-2110-1 exchange goodbyes with D-9350, SCP-2110-1-F approaches her.
Goodbye, child. It was wonderful to have you here. We all hope you come again soon. God is with you, always.
End log, 2205. Closing statement. In a post-interview analysis, D-9350 reported feeling slightly elated and not so bad, expressing a desire to communicate with SCP-2110-1. D-9350 was then withheld from visiting SCP-2110 for a period of 6 days, after which she no longer expressed any intention of re-entering. Interviewed. SCP-2110-1. Interviewer. D-9350. Forward. D-9350 has been outfitted with the same setup as last time, and was told to talk naturally with SCP-2110-1 to study its conversation habits if not questioned or interviewed. Specifically, D-9350 was asked to continue divulging information from the previous interview in order to test SCP-2110-1's reactions. Begin log, 2250. D-9350 sits with the rest of SCP-2110-1 to eat dinner, joining them in the same prayer as the previous interviews without waiting for approval from observing agents. Shortly after, the meal commences.
Voce pers nervosa.
Oh, okay, Voce Diaz.
What did he say?
It's alright, dear. I'm sure the nephew meant no harm in his statement. He simply remarked that you looked nervous.
Yes. You were mentioning something about yourself the last time you had come over. Did you want to keep talking about it?
Would you like more pasta on your plate?
No, thank you. I'm fine with that. Anyway, I would like to keep sharing. It's kind of something that made me nervous to share, though, given how religious you all are.
We have always been taught, as well as teach others, to love all of his children regardless of their history and to accept them into our homes. Speak freely.
Most SCP-2110-1 turn to look at D-9350 and listen, with SCP-2110-1-D and SCP-2110-1-E still eating.
Well, when I was 16, I felt conflicted about myself and who I was in life. So I went online and found groups that I could talk to, right?
But he is a sinner. How could you say that God would accept that kind of sin into his kingdom? I knew that. Was a delinquent from the moment he entered.
Did this person whose gender I'm confused about come out as gay?
Now, why should we turn away someone because of that?
Wants to ask something. Wouldn't this corrupt us with his sin?
Mommy, do que vocês está falando?
Nada importante, querida.
Everyone, please, calm down so I can speak.
But father, we've never had to deal with anything like this before. What if it ruins our family? I don't want my child to grow up every day with someone like.
It is important for the nephew to grow up every day with her. We have learned to love and accept those we come into contact with, regardless of how we perceive them or their sins. Should we not do the same for her as we have done for others?
All SCP-2110-1 stops talking for 22 seconds, looking at one another and D-9350. After that, SCP-2110-1-A turns to face D-9350.
Would you like to spend the night with us? I apologize for this behavior you have witnessed, but I can assure that you will be safe here. I believe everyone will come to accept you as I have. Do you need some time to think?
I've caused trouble here as well, right?
Then we will learn to adapt. Though you haven't caused trouble to begin with, I'm sure you won't cause any more in the future for us.
Only if you're sure he won't.
End log 0013. Closing statement. At this point, researcher Aquina and supervisor Santiago told D-9350 to accept SCP-2110-1's offer. Shortly after D-9350 followed SCP-2110-1-A up to the second floor, all visual and audio feed was cut and no response from D-9350 was heard before recording stopped 10 minutes later. Interviewed. SCP-2110-1. Interviewer. Agent Hertz. Forward. After 4 weeks without any contact from D-9350, Agent Hertz, under monitoring by researcher Aquina and supervisor Santiago, was sent to interview SCP-2110-1 4 weeks after the previous interview. Specifically, D-9350, hereafter referred to as SCP-2110-1-G, was chosen to be the main interviewee in order to learn more about the conversion process. Agent Hertz was chosen due to being German-born, and was briefed on both SCP-2110's effects as well as being cleared for all previous interviews and logs. Agent Hertz was asked to answer questions posed by SCP-2110-1 as needed, but not to divulge information about his background or history at any point. Begin log 1642. Agent Hertz enters SCP-2110, after which all SCP-2110-1 instances manifest. The only notable difference is the introduction of a new instance, SCP-2110-1-G, who calls over to Hertz and invites him to eat. After accepting the offer and sitting at the table to join the rest of SCP-2110-1, everyone but Hertz gets into praying position.
Is something wrong? Don't you want to pray with the rest of us?
No thanks. I'm not exactly a religious type.
Oh, that's all right. I'm not exactly either. I don't usually pray anyway, but this is a special case with someone new joining us for dinner.
So you say you don't believe in God?
Not quite. I guess I'd believe in him. Are you still sure? The prayer is simple, enough for the both of us to be able to recite it with ease anyhow. Our Lord in heaven.
Can you tell me what happened 4 weeks ago, when you were asked to sleep here?
At this point, SCP-2110-1-G pauses and looks up to the ceiling for 2 minutes, as the rest of the group continues the prayer without it, before saying Amen with the rest of the group and turning back to Ertz.
Have you ever had a religious experience before? Like, a near-death experience and you can see the afterlife, or in church or by yourself and hearing someone big speak?
I'm afraid I can't really answer that.
So no? You haven't gone to church even once as a kid?
I'm not at liberty to discuss information about my background.
It's hard to explain it then. I was sleeping, and I just woke up in the middle of the night. I could just hear someone speaking, but when I went to check, everyone else was fast asleep. So I went back to my room to sleep, and then again when I was asleep, I could hear someone speak. I woke up and in front of me was this thing. I'm still not sure exactly.
Was it an endpoint?
Yeah. It was huge as well, and shining so bright I could barely make it out.
Sounds like an angel to me, my daughter.
Sounds more like drugs and deception, considering angels are balls of rings with eyes and multiple wings and look like Cthulhu's nightmares.
Right, that'd explain it. I just laid in awe, and I thought I could hear it say something. I can't remember what it said, or why it was there.
A blessing?
I'm not sure. I was pretty tired that night when I went to visit, and mentally drained from all the fighting people were doing over me. Maybe I just imagined it.
Why did you not leave the next day then?
Well, that's another thing. Haven't you ever felt scared as you grew up, or gone through some bad experiences?
Again, I'm not at liberty to.
You probably wouldn't really understand if you haven't then. Finding a place where you'd be welcomed and cared for. That's something anyone would want, right?
Not like that, I don't.
And log, 1656. Closing statement. Agent Hertz proceeded to end the interview shortly thereafter.